Hi, everyone. So 8 years ago, I was an office manager, and today I'm considered to be one of the leading thinkers on the intersection of food, technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Over the last 7 years, my company, Food+Tech Connect, has built one of the world's largest food innovation communities, made up of 36,000 farmers, chefs, entrepreneurs, investors, executives, policymakers in 32 countries around the world. We've been tracking all the business, tech, and investment trends in food before anyone else, even it was on anyone else's radar. I've worked with some of the largest food companies to help them rethink their futures. And I've done all of this with zero funding, totally bootstrapped, and when I left my job to start it, with 3 months' rent in the bank. Now, I tell you all this not to pat myself on the back, but because if you take anything away from my talk, I hope it's these two things. The first is that anyone, no matter how many resources you have, no matter how constrained you are by entrenched systems, no matter where you are, that anyone can make a difference. And the second, which is a little woo-woo, but I'm going to get you all on board with it, is that we need to start leading with love. So I'm really honored today to have been asked to share my story and some of the lessons I've learned along the way. And so what I thought to frame the conversation is some of the guiding principles that I've picked up over the last 7 years, which hopefully can inspire you and maybe you can adopt. So the beginning. I was working for a company that designed rooftop greenhouses called Bright Farm Systems, and where I was an office manager, but started using Twitter for PR and business development. And one day I had this aha moment when I realized that people were openly sharing all of this information online that we needed as a company, but we didn't have access to. So things like prices paid to producers, things like how much food was being grown in the city. And so I started to think, what if we scraped all that data together to get a better real-time picture of what's going on in the food system, to better inform policy decisions, research, business decisions? I thought, what would it look like to build a smart grid for food? Now, I knew absolutely nothing about technology. I was that person that was always losing files, and I was a technophobe. But I was so curious, and I felt like this was going to be the future. So I spent a year immersing myself in books about databases, any article I could read, any event that I could go to, talking to whomever would talk to me. And finally, I decided that I had an idea for an app where it would be the first step in building this smart grid for food. So I set up a website with a landing page for a survey. Now, it wasn't a great idea at the time, although there are a lot of entrepreneurs that are trying it right now. But I had a lot of traffic coming to the site, and so I decided to start writing about these ideas I had around open data and the opportunities of technology and open data in food and agriculture. This is my first blog post and my old site and my first logo, and I share it because this post went viral, my very first post. It was a visualization of the global food system, and Michael Pollan linked to it as his link of the day, which drove a lot of traffic. But half of the traffic was actually coming from tech blogs, design blogs, legal blogs, anthropology, sociology. And it was at that moment that I realized that food touches everything, that if we are going to solve all of the biggest challenges that we have, we need to bring all of these people together, all of these perspectives, because all of their responses to this image were all completely different. So once I had all this traffic coming to the site, I decided, okay, I'm going to use this as a platform to start spreading some of these ideas. And most people thought I was crazy, right? I would talk to people in my network in the food world, and they would say, farmers will never share their data. Researchers will never collaborate on research. Companies will never open source anything that they're doing, right? They're never going to bring anyone else in. And I said, just you wait. It's going to happen. But as I started writing, people from all over the world started reaching out to me to tell me what they were working on, or to just say, I didn't know anyone else was thinking about this. And so what started off as this landing page soon became this place where I could tell their stories. So I started interviewing the people that would reach out to me, and I quickly realized that I needed to start connecting people offline, because there was so much interest and there was so much happening. Well, there wasn't that much happening. There were about 50 organizations at the time that were even thinking about this, but said, let's start convening people. So in July of 2010, well, actually a little bit earlier, there were 4 of us who had found each other somehow in New York, and we met in a bar. And we said, we want to launch this meetup, the Food+Tech Meetup, in order to start bringing people together around these ideas. And so this is our 3rd meetup. There were like 16 of us, terrible quality photo, but it was at a really exciting time where somehow we had found all these people that shared these beliefs. Today, we've grown this community to be over 5,000 people just in New York, and we get together once a month and we share knowledge. Entrepreneurs come, they share what they're working on, their challenges, their lessons learned. It's a place where 6th-generation corn and soybean farmers from Minnesota can come to learn about the changes that are happening in agriculture, where other entrepreneurs can learn from other entrepreneurs, and where the head of procurement for New York City schools comes in order to learn about what technologies he may be able to adopt. We have communities in New York, San Francisco, LA, Bologna, Italy, and we have 20 cities where people want to bring this to their own city right now. The next thing, so we were getting people together, we were talking, but as I said, there were not a lot of organizations at the time. And so we said, we need to start doing things that get people excited about this space and encourage people to want to create companies in this space. There was definitely no funding. There was no ecosystem of support like you see today. And so we started hosting hackathons. This is our first hackathon. We had 60 people. And what hackathons are is we bring developers and designers and entrepreneurs together with people from the food industry to rapidly break down problems in new ways, then rapidly prototype solutions. Over the next 4 years, we hosted 4 more hackathons, working with some of the world's top food companies. And what these hackathons were, they got people excited about launching companies in this space. They created a safe space also where people could explore, collaborate together, and build new products. By the end, we went from 60 people to 300, and it also created a movement around the world. So all over the world now, you're seeing people hosting these hackathons to tackle food system problems. One of the great things about these hackathons as well was that these hackathons brought stakeholders and engaged them in creating their solutions. So this is a winning team from our Hack Meet, which we did in 2013. And you see at the center is Kevin, who's a farmer, who won the hackathon, along with Rob Trice, who's now one of the leaders in the ag tech ecosystem, which he got excited about from coming to this hackathon, and the CEO of Applegate Meats, which was acquired by Hormel for close to $1 billion, right? So magical things happen when you bring all of these people together. So courage. Courage is really important because getting new ideas out into the world takes courage, particularly with such an entrenched system like the food system. So Big Food has lost 25, and over the last 5 years, the top 25 food companies lost $18 billion in market share. And that happened for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's because eaters have been voting with their dollars. But number two, it happened because all of these companies had the courage to come out and say, I want to do something. I want to put better products into the market. And so consumers had more choice. 46% of the growth that was happening is coming from small and mid-sized businesses. So that's Blue Apron did not exist 5 years ago. That's when Blue Apron launched 5 years ago. It's now just IPO'd for $2 billion and has gotten more people cooking than anything in the last 20 years. You have companies like EXO who have helped to create this movement around using crickets and insects as a sustainable source of protein, right? This is a picture at the airport where they're selling a cricket bar. I mean, that takes a lot of courage to go out and stake your claim in that industry. The final lesson that I've learned is love. And this is the woo-woo part, but I hope you all keep an open mind. So over the last year and a half, a year and a half ago, I got really sick. And I got to the point where I could only eat about 8 foods. And food for me became something that was very fearful and very painful and made me really sad. Until one day I had this revelation, and I realized actually going through that experience has been the best gift for me. Because what I realized on a very visceral level was the awesome responsibility that we have to nourish people, right? We are the nourishers of our global family, of the earth, of the soil, of the water, of our air. And so what I realized is that if we're gonna tackle our big food challenges, the metrics are great, right? And I am all about business, and so people, planet, profit, but we need to bring love, because when you eat something that has love in it, it's a much different experience. And I think that that's one of the ingredients that's really been missing. And as the great Dr. Martin Luther King said, we have before us this glorious opportunity to inject a new dimension of love into the veins of our civilization. And we can do that through food. So what's next for us? We're actually getting ready to build the next phase of this smart grid for food. We're really excited. So we are turning our platform into a platform that actually connects people, all of you, online. The first step in doing this is a job board that we launched. We are also launching a new platform called Alpha Food Labs, which is an innovation lab for next-generation food companies that are building products and services that are better for people, planet, and profit. So what we want to do, I'm launching this with my husband, who's a very talented food product designer, is to give startups the support, and the most ambitious startups, the support that they need to build and scale ambitious companies. And we want to help corporations with working with and acting like startups, finding the ways to take all of these lessons that we've learned, that the lessons from entrepreneurs of how to fail fast, of how to learn by doing, to get more ambitious products out there. So I just want to leave you with a question, which is, what are you doing? Are you leading with courage and love? And if not, will you join me? Thank you.